Good evening, Mr. Tomas Monge. This is my reflecting video based on the 5 approaches each English teacher must know in order to teach. One of my favorite approaches, and since the first day I was taught with this approach, is the direct method. I remember that back in my elementary days at school, I was taught and I was faced with this method not as a teacher, instead as a student, because my teachers they developed the English language, the English language in all the classes, and we were not allowed to speak Spanish. And there was something interesting because in many cases, the the teacher was asking if we know word, if we know the definition of the word, and most of us said no, we don't know the definition. So she took some flashcards, she took some pictures, and she started developing, the definition, making the action of that word, and without using our first language, which is the Spanish. So I am really engaged with direct method application. Actually, I teach grammar and I teach literature, I teach language, and I ask my students not to speak in English. And if they do not know a phrase, if they do not know a word, we look for the word, but not in the dictionary. We look for some words that are related with the whole and complete situation. Another approach that I really like, it's the communicative approach. In this communicative approach, I really like because it seeks to develop skills that enable students to meaningfully engage with each other. Okay, interactive activities. I mean, the word interactive, it's super important for me because the student can't be just freezed on their desks. I rather prefer to make some interactions among students, among teacher and students, okay, and not having um, ice cubes on their chairs, okay. I rather prefer to have other kind of students, okay. The teacher, of course, is responsible to give the students as much opportunity to give and receive meaningful communication. That's why it's called communicative approach. For example, you can let the students introduce themselves, and this has been an icebreaker since the first day of classes. We use this icebreaker to introduce themselves, and because it is the first day, we don't make corrections, okay. We don't provide feedback because feedback, I think, it's provide until we reach the syllabus, when we reach the whole part of our class, okay. So it is not like the first day I'm going to do that. Another approach that I really want teachers to engage with is the communicative community language learning. It's called that because we see everyone as a whole unit, okay. We don't have students left behind, okay. We are working as a whole unit. I mean, the teacher is acting as a facilitator. We'll give him the translation and ask him to utter it out loud, okay. And we will guide, as teachers, we will guide the pronunciations, the pronunciation of the students, okay. At the same time, the class is listening to the teacher, and I have to be very, very, very careful with this. The way I pronounce, the way students are going to pronounce. So my community language learning must be an approach that has to be almost perfect. We don't want students pronouncing bad English. Okay, Mister, that's all. Thank you very much for giving me and teaching me during this first trimester in UPN.